Module 4 examines the moral controversies that are unleashed when abortion is the topic of discussion. In the United States, these controversies have raged ever since the decision handed down in 1973 by the Supreme Court in the case of Roe v. Wade. Writing for the majority, Justice Blackmun crystallized the rationale for the decision in a single sentence. The unborn have never been recognized in the law as persons in the whole sense. Our textbook tells us that since Roe v. Wade, more than 50 million abortions have been performed in the U.S. alone. Worldwide, the number is probably closer to 1 billion. Clearly, the legality of abortion is widely accepted. Why, then, does abortion continue to be so heatedly debated? By this point, I'm sure you know the answer. The moral and ethical questions surrounding abortion are far from settled. In your readings for this unit, you'll find that the definition of personhood is central, since persons are entitled to the right to life. In a seminal article, Marianne Warren argued that 5 things are necessary to be considered a person: consciousness, reasoning, self-motivated activity, the ability to communicate, and self-awareness. Given these criteria, Warren concluded that a fetus is not a person. Therefore, it's not entitled to moral rights and may be aborted. There are problems with this view, as our text points out. The most prominent is that Warren's standards for personhood would exclude human infants, whose moral welfare thus could not be considered, at least from the perspective of personhood. Nonetheless, it's clear that both sides of the abortion debate, the pro-life faction and the pro-choice camp, see the concept of personhood as fundamental. For strongly conservative pro-lifers, from the moment a human egg is fertilized and becomes a zygote, a new person exists and therefore has the moral rights accorded to other persons, including the right to life. Thus, for pro-lifers, abortion is murder. For a strongly liberal pro-choicer, the fetus is not a person and therefore deserves neither legal nor moral rights. For pro-choicers, abortion is a woman's personal decision about her own body and is not murder. The opposed positions presented in our textbook occur in the context of personhood. Jeffrey Ryman uses the criterion of a consciously cared about life to deny the status of personhood to a fetus. Since a fetus lacks the ability to be concerned or care about its own life, the loss of life can't matter to it. A fetus has no sense of self for whom something could matter, including its own life. Don Marquis presents an interesting counter-argument that's become a cornerstone of thoughtful pro-life advocacy. He introduces the concept of a future of value. He claims that it's intuitively wrong to deprive potential persons of the goods that the future may hold by shortening their life, since a shorter life will contain fewer goods than a longer one. So to deprive a potential person of all of the goods of a future life is immoral because it deprives the person of any future of value. Thus, abortion is wrong because the future of a possible person has been extinguished. Both your essay and the discussion board for this module require you to discuss the arguments that Ryman and Marquis present. Additionally, the discussion board asks you to consider an ingenious thought experiment that uses reasoning by analogy to defend a woman's right to abortion. Judith Jarvis Thomson, a professor of philosophy at MIT, devised the experiment in her famous essay entitled A Defense of Abortion. Here's the setup. You wake up to find yourself back-to-back in bed with a famous unconscious violinist. He has a serious kidney ailment, and the local music society has canvassed all the available medical records and found that you alone have the right blood type to help. They have therefore kidnapped you, and last night the violinist's circulatory system was plugged into yours, so that your kidneys can be used to cleanse his blood as well as your own. The director of the hospital says to you, "Look, we're sorry they did this to you, but now the violinist is plugged into you. He'll die if he's disconnected. But this is only for 9 months. By then, he'll have recovered and can be safely unplugged." My question, is it your moral duty to keep the violinist alive? Can you ethically unplug the violinist and cause his death? Finally, is this imaginary situation a good proxy for examining the morality of abortion? Your classmates await your response. Best wishes for a great conversation.